on the cloud? Can we get a small,
I
can
can't
we get one?
really tell the difference.
Okay, cool. All right, so it's recording. So I'm here with Rayshell, Awesome Sauce, Fambrough. We'll be talking
Mm-hmm.
all
Mm-hmm.
things student agency. I do have to do a disclaimer, which is about 6 or 7 years ago, Rayshell donated to my donors choose. So there's a conflict of interest there, and that I'm still grateful. And I think she's amazing.
I will continue to donate as you continue to put them forward. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then let's start out with Rayshell. First, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Rayshell Fambrough, and I own 2 cats, and I love learning, and I love helping other people learn.
Position wise, work
Oh,
experience,
okay.
where are
My
you coming from?
title is virtual learning coordinator. I work for a TK through 8 school district with about 30,000 students, 30% of which are identified as English language learners or emerging bilingual students. And approximately 91% of them are identified as socioeconomically disadvantaged. And did I already say my title? Virtual learning coordinator.
Virtual learning coordinator. All right, cool, cool, cool. And so let's hop right into it. So this little mini series that I'm setting up within my podcast is on student agency, student leadership, all things empowering students. And I know that that is your jam, so much so that Dr. Fambrough,
Soon to
about to
be.
be, soon to be Dr. Fambrough, that's your focus. So you want to kind of just hop in and start telling us about your dissertation, and then kind of what's making you go in that direction, and yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the term first, student agency. So upon reviewing the literature, what I've found is that agency is a very, is the word ephemeral concept. There's no solidified or universally agreed upon definition of what agency is for students within the classroom. A lot of different researchers and studies have leveraged different frameworks to describe agency, sociocultural theory, or I'm trying to think of the chat acronym. It's actor network theory, just a couple of theoretical frameworks to explain it. I personally, within my study, will not leverage a theoretical framework unless asked to. I do appreciate the kind of ephemeral nature of it, and I want that to be reflected in the study, that it is not, it's difficult to conceptualize and kind of nail down. But throughout the literature, there is 2 common things, and that is intentional autonomous action. And I don't mean autonomous absent of a social construct. We are all socially situated, and we are within systems and structures and other actors who we do not have control over. So autonomous action, willful action, socially situated is one common theme throughout the literature. And then the second common theme throughout the literature is the social situation of it all, is that we do have to recognize that we are acting within systems. So autonomous, intentional, willful action within social structures. So that's what agency is as I see it. And so it has, the nuances are different throughout the studies, but in all, I would say that's a theme. That would be a claim I would purport. So that's what student agency is as I see it, or as I'm claiming. And then why my interest in it? Should I go into
Yes,
that?
go
Yeah.
into that one.
Okay. So in my research, I will bracket this. I will try I'll do my due diligence as a researcher to try to separate my interest and passion and enthusiasm and my background experience from the data I'm going to collect. But I didn't come to this topic a blank slate, right? Something drove me here.
Yeah.
So I tell this story a lot to new teachers or to classes I'm starting, and I just say, hey, you know, I have adverse childhood experiences, right? I was raised by two alcoholics who continued to be addicts throughout my adolescence and now adulthood. I had a very volatile home life. I'm hyper curious, short attention span. And so at home, I had to become an adult very quickly. I had to take care of things. Many of the people listening, many of the people too, they might have experienced that as
Hey,
well.
this is an assignment, so there's gonna be a handful.
Yes. 20, all 20 of you listen. You might have gone through crap too. So I leave home, which is this hyper volatile situation. I'm always on eggshells trying to anticipate everybody's move, take care of everybody. And then I'd go to school and it was safe and wonderful and beautiful. And it was all just meant for kids. You didn't have to take care of the adults. Plot twist, you have to be obedient, you have to be quiet, and you have to do what the teacher says. Well, I guess it's synonymous for obedient. And you don't want to be curious because that's interrupting whatever that was planned. And so I loved school and I also hated it. I was an island kid. I had to sit by myself. I used to pray. I'd be like, dear omnipresent being that I'm in here, that I'm working with, please help me keep my hands to myself in my seat because I desperately want to go to the treasure chest. I've never been there.
Yeah.
And then like mid prayer, I'd be like, oh my gosh, are the butterflies about to, not balloon, are they about to come out of their cocoon? And I'd go over there and it would be like, Rayshell, sit down, change your card. And so I had this tug of war between like, I love to learn and being compliant. So I actually got a computer maybe around third, fourth grade. And from there, you couldn't stop me, right? I didn't have to rely on the teacher. I didn't have to rely on adults. I could travel to different worlds. I could see different people. I could connect with others. And, now anytime I have a question, I want to learn something, I have the power to do that and I have the power to connect with people. And so that's what took me to technology. That's why my love for it still sustains. And it's like, sometimes I flirt with these different opportunities or roles within organizations, and because it may offer an opportunity to make an impact or impact in a different way. But I just keep going back to tech because I'm like, that allows you to create, communicate, those 4 C's, collaborate, critically think. And so with that background, my love for technology and my interest in helping students or creating, not even helping, not allowing, but creating spaces where students could share their amazingness, their curiosity, their desire to be part of the world, to build understanding. I found that the foundation of that was kind of agency, right? What is 21st century learning? What is that? Well, it's very ephemeral. And my viewpoint was that the root of it was agency, autonomous, willful action that's socially situated. So that's kind of where I landed on that.
Yeah, I saw you pause right there when you were talking about the allow, and it's funny because I was having a conversation right before this, and I paused. It's like it's allowed, giving, like what exactly? And so but what I've come to the conclusion more recently, and I had to like okay, how am I trying to? For me, it's where I'm at as an adult. Period. I have already more privilege than kids. And as a professional adult with a position, I have more privilege than the kids that are. And so I think when I try and think of like what empowering, giving, it's I got privileges. How do we diffuse all those things that are here into their hands? because they should have all of that too. It shouldn't be however many years of experience and degree and this and this. If they're interested in something, right? You can learn it now, little guy.
Knowledge. Yeah. And I honestly, Eddie, I think that paradigm has shifted for me because of my conversations with you. I don't know if that's something that doesn't sit right with you, but you've said that to me where you're like, we don't empower.
Yeah.
They have power. We're suppressing it.
Yeah.
It's not, we're not giving them agency. They have it. We're not giving them power. They have it, but we're actively we need to stop doing that. So,
Yeah.
hats off to you for just bringing that bringing that to mind so that I can reshape shift my lexicon to reshape my thinking, really.
Because like the wild part is that you don't have to, like, when you're like, oh, when I grow up I can, it's like there's people doing it now your age. You can do it now, you don't have to wait till you're 18.
No, no. Terms of service, a lot of these platforms that allow you to create, innovate, what's the word, iterate, 13 and up.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
And that's just to connect you with people. In
yeah,
isolation, you have a lot more tools available to you.
yeah,
And you're
yeah,
so
yeah,
smart and so intuitive
yeah.
and so strong. We got to get out of your way so that you can share that with us, each other, and the world.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's a I think that's the best way, right? Like I guess that's what it is, right? We're not empowering, we're not diffusing, we're getting out of the way.
Yes, yes.
That's cool. Yeah, I like it. So now I'm gonna start saying that one.
It,
Quote Fambrough 2022, getting out of the way.
yeah, yeah, especially for the high level tasks.
Yeah.
I think sometimes as educators, we really want to ensure students are successful. So we chunk the learning in a way that allows the students, that ensures they're successful. And so with that, when do they get a choice? When do they get to exercise the muscles that allow them to make choice, or
Yeah.
to fail, or to grow from failing, or to reflect?
Yeah.
So I think that us allowing students to reflect and iterate and fail is it actually success. I'd love to see that reframed.
All right, cool. So no, one of the things that you've I'm gonna find this quote for you before this is over.
Deal.
The it's Orlando Falls Fallsboro. I'm gonna bring it up, but so I appreciate now you've given the context of how you entered this line of research. You've shared a little bit on the construct of what student agency is. The Have you been able to get into like your study, or what kind of where you see it going? So the audience for this is going to be the primary audience is a master's class in the curriculum and instruction program at CSUB, and the class goes through student leadership, student agency, and so and you graduated from CSUB too, correct, Rayshell?
Yes, I
All right,
did.
so they're definitely going to be seeing themselves in you, and I guess this is partially a recruitment pitch then for them joining their doctoral program journey.
I hope they do. Yeah. And please reach out to me. I'd love to be on anyone's committee. If their study leans this way, I'd love to pay that forward if you're interested.
So you heard it there, all right? The phone number's on the bottom.
Yes.
Have you gotten into have you set up your study yet, or have you started thinking about that direction where you're going?
Yes, I have. So I initially wanted to interview students, and I wanted to analyze their lived experiences. So in this case, a phenomenological study. And I reviewed the literature. Sometimes that can be a limitation in phenomenology, specifically transcendental phenomenology, where I serve kind of as an acceptor and transmitter of responses, but as they are authentically experienced. The goal for me to remove myself from the equation, really, from the experiencer to the audience of the experiencer, to those who kind of who read the study. Can you hear Severus? He's so bad.
Oh no, he's good.
Severus, come here. So so that was my intent. Then, as I was reading through the literature, I noticed there's actually a lot of information regarding students' experience. So there's been surveys given to students where they analyze or they share their perception of the agency they get to exercise, compared or and correlated with their academic achievement or their perceptions of belonging. And there's interview data with students. There is observation data with students, and there is a bit of interview data from teachers, but it's in an effort to build clarity around the student experience. There's hardly any research behind the teachers lived experience as they provide instruction that facilitates student agency.
Mhm.
So what is it like for you, Eddie? What's your lived experience as you facilitate instruction that promotes student agency? It doesn't really exist. I've found very few studies, and those few studies don't highlight agency as the phenomena. They usually identify power or creativity as the phenomena.
Yeah,
So
no, the
with that, I can make a unique contribution to the literature in this respect. So so that has where the study has taken a turn now into identifying teachers.
that's cool. No,
And
that's
so there's an operational definition of student agency that's been derived from the research that'll be shared with the principals of the participating district to identify teachers who have shown that type of instruction or for promoted agency as defined through the operational definition. And if they have, to please share those names with me, and then I'll reach out and start the process of recruiting them to share their lived experience.
that's cool, cool. I like it. The if you could give us like a timeline then, like, so you're wrapping up year 2 right now, right? And then you're going into year 3. Can you give us a little bit on the process of like what was year 1 like? How did you go through year 2? And then because now I feel like we got a good understanding of how you've come to this point and then kind of where you're going, but just like tie it together within like the program. So somebody that is sorry, I like opened up a new file and it like oh just like explain to us the process. Like how does this actually fit into like a doctoral program or like where you're at now?
Okay, so the first year in the doctoral program, we start with our general methods course, and we start with an organizational theory class. So this work will lead to a dissertation, and so throughout throughout the program, there are methods courses to support you with your literature review, and in tandem, there are also courses that support you as a leader, as an educational leader, as that's the doctorate's title or function. And so it's really an interesting reality that I've kind of navigated, is that I get so hyper focused on the coursework, like organizational theory or programmatic evaluation or change in the legislative change. But then while that's going through, I'm learning about quantitative methods, I'm learning about qualitative methods. And so that's happening at the same time until you finish that first year, you round into the second, which is that same kind of dual path, and then you go to your qualifying exam, which is like a very sparse first 3 chapters of your dissertation. Once that happens, you're given the green light to proceed with your program to move on to a candidate instead of a student. And at that point, for me, I'm finding it very difficult to stay interested in the coursework.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, okay, we're going to take an HR class.
Yeah.
And we're going to take a fourth methods class, right? An advanced methods class.
Yeah.
I am so stoked for the advanced methods class. By the way, I know the HR professor very well. She's a beast. She's a rock star. And I'm not excited for that course, not because of the course content or because of the professor, but because now I am so excited about my research. And so I'm finding it so hard to stay over on that second
You're ready to specialize on that one specifically.
I'm so excited. Every time I dig it, I feel like doing my research or feel like attending to that work is like working out. You never regret working out, right? You only regret when you don't, or exercise or whatever that feel good thing is you do that takes a little bit of effort. So I'm now in finishing the spring of my second year. I have spring to spring now. And so I think I continue on this tandem track where I'll have coursework and I'll have dissertation work. And so my goal for myself is to learn to apply that first track learning, that theoretical organization class, that leadership class, the HR class immediately within my practice, but to so that it has some relevancy and while staying excited about my dissertation. But I can't tell you how excited I am for this work.
To do the work part. Yeah.
Yes.
So this is cool. So we've so I think so right now for those of you that are still following through with it and you haven't skipped through, thank you.
And for those of you listening on 2.5 speed, thank you as well. We see you, we know you, we are you. See you, we are you, we know you.
So
That's how we said it.
So there's two cool spheres that I've seen that I want to address then to close it out with student agency, and the one part that we've gotten to hear is kind of like your thought process, how you've gotten through your dissertation journey, where you're at, and then the importance of researching that for making a contribution to the field. Now, you as Rayshell Fambrough leader, what are the implications of that for somebody, whether they're in the classroom, whether they're at administrative position at a school site, or whether they're at a district? Why student agency, and how does that look going into those spaces?
So what it looks, I wish I could show you the picture, but what it looks like is students interrupting, students talking, students making, students negotiating, students influencing the trajectory of the learning, the scope and sequence. What it means is that our work is student-based, not adult-based. What it means is that our students get to be part of the constructing meaning and not, they're not puzzle pieces for you to put together because you're not with them all the time. So to think that to not acknowledge their power and allow them to exercise it is doing it a disservice. And that's true for all levels of an organization, I'm assuming, is at some point you've got, it's packaged in different ways, right? Principals to teachers, teachers to students, district office, it's like if you don't bring people to the table and listen to them and leverage their strengths and work collectively, who benefits? So one is those are a couple of actions, but as far as what does that mean for people at a district office as far as agency in general? I would say that my message to them, or my message to people who are interested in agency, how that might apply to people in a district office, is people in a district office have a responsibility to ensure that supports are being provided. And so to do that, they really want I find that, they might need accountability systems. Are the people using these supports because I'm providing them? Are they using them? Because if they're not using them, I can't tell if it's effective. And so there's this need to hold people accountable in it for a good reason. They won't have good intention. And then the same is true for a principal, right? The principal's trying to support all the teachers. So there's this need to kind of make things as similar as possible so I can watch for those things, so I can help as much as possible. And then for teachers, they really want things to be done a certain way so they can watch for that thing and assess. And it takes a lot of work. So kind of operationalize it as much. But the more you operationalize things, the less people are connected. So they disassociate, they reproduce. And then when they finally get to be out of your space, they reassociate to their setting, and then they start to make their own meaning. So really all we've taught people to do is to disassociate, attend to what's being asked for whatever reason, and then to go into your own space when you finally have some freedom and think and create. And so it's a fool's errand. If you are an administrator, if you are the president of the United States, you too, Dalai Lama, although I love you, so I'm probably not talking to you, but everybody else except the Dalai Lama. Listen, if you think that holding people accountable and mandating is changing anybody's thinking, you're wrong. You might be changing their behaviors, but if you're not changing thinking, then you're not affecting learning, and you're being ineffective. It's not a machine. It's an art. It's not a, I don't know what the word is, but teaching is an art. Learning is an art, and you have to respect that. So yeah, I would say agency at all levels means honoring the thinking, making the visible visible through allowing people to exercise their expertise and their funds of knowledge.
Cool. Thank you. I found the quote. Okay,
Hit it.
I'm gonna put it into the chat so you can read it. But it's one of my favorite. But I apply it to kids, because I'll look at the kids as being a part of the community. I mean, literally, that's the community we serve, right? So there you go. Hold on, I'm copying and pasting. All right, so do not impose your own ponderous scientific style for communicating results, but diffuse what you have learned together with the people in a manner that is pleasant. For science should not be necessarily a mystery nor a monopoly of experts and intellectuals. And I think when it applies to kids, same thing. The curriculum shouldn't be a mystery. For parents, shouldn't be a mystery. It's all there. No, that's cool. All right, Rayshell. Any closing thoughts? Anything you want to share as we close it up?
Mm.
And that's her phone number going across the bottom again. So
what I want to share is trust no one. Find the data, find the research. If somebody tells you this is the best way to teach reading, where's the research? If somebody says this is how people learn, find the research, find the data, be an educated consumer of knowledge so that you can understand the world around you to make the biggest impact you can. Know your why. And I don't mean just spiritually, but yes. I don't mean just emotionally, but yes. But I mean intellectually, I mean supporting your evidence to support your work. So be an informed consumer of information. Trust nobody unless they've done empirical research. So you can best serve your kids and you can be a champion. Somebody tells you what's not to do, that's not good for people. You say, I'm not doing it. And they say, oh, well, I've got this, and this, and you are now empowered with knowledge, information so that you can do the right work. Boom. Also, I'm sorry for my cat meowing.
You are the expert. All right,
yes.
Here's the last one. It's kind of a request, but I don't know if anybody knows this. When the pandemic first started, Rayshell was pulling in like crowds larger than Justin Bieber and who else? The Rolling Stones. Remember when you were doing your online PD and there was like 5, 6, 7, 800 people?
Yeah, I loved it.
You were like Freddie Mercury, like into the whole London arena. All right, so let's see if what I always remember of those though was, let me see.
Yeah. We can't hear it.
There we go. How about now? So can we get one small dance party, Rayshell?
Of course. Yes. Oh, also play salsa. It makes everyone happy.
Thank you. Yeah. Hey, Rayshell, I really appreciate you taking the time. Doctoral program.
I love it. Do it.
Do it, people. Go through it. Being a leader and advocate for kids.
Do it.
Do it, people. All right, cool. Thank you, Rayshell. I really appreciate it.
As Bukowski says, find something you love and bleed for it. And I really feel like that's this work. Okay, bye.
Let me see.